OVW and Performance Center. You did that for a year. Uh, what was the experience like, I suppose? Because it would have been completely
Oh, it was
different from
phenomenal.
even a few years ago. It would have been a complete shift in what you know as WWE, I suppose.
Yeah, I was hired as a coach when they were at the FCW building, and then they transitioned to Orlando to the Performance Center. And I mean, supposedly Triple H went to the New York Giants football training center and looked at what they had and said, "Okay, that's what I want." And it's got a huge gym, and it's got the where they do the confessionals where you can work on your promos. They've got rooms where you can watch videos, and all the coaches that are there. There's 200 years of experience in coaches, and anytime you can go, hey, bounce these ideas. And yeah, absolutely loved it. Robbie Brookside was also one of the coaches there, and Regal was down pretty much every week. I was teaching the guys when I started, the people that were brand new, regardless if they had experience or not, they would come to my class first, and we would work on very simple rolls, bumps, run the ropes, get to know a little bit of moves. And then I think there were 5 different classes. People would move up the progression, and the guys that were on NXT were in the top class. But then also they'd have classes where it's open class and anybody could come. And like a lot of them would come, when Sasha and Bailey were there. And so who else? Braun Strowman started in my class, Chad Gable. So I got to work with a lot of them. It was really cool.
What's the difference between OVW training as you knew it in the late 90s, early 2000s, and Performance Center training in the 2010s?
So for OVW, WWE contracted with an indie company to train their students. And with the Performance Center is that like that excellence that WWE has across the board. Their production, their travel, the way they, pretty much treat their stars, but just everything is like top of the notch, world class, best that there is. OVW, not knocking it, but it was an indie company that had a ring and a building. And, for wrestling, that's really all you need. But for WWE, that everything, the story went that when Triple H transferred from in-ring to more office, Vince said, I want you to go around to every station, every department in the headquarters and come back and give me a report. So he went, to marketing and to billing or whatever, and to overseas and all this stuff. And he came back and he goes, well, everything's like perfect except for that developmental. It's kind of fucked up. And he goes, okay, that's what you're going to be in charge of. Oh shit. So, but he's made it, world class, made it WWE perfection.
I've got probably a slightly heavier question now. So this is just my, and it will be a criticism, not of you. It will be a criticism in OVW, and let's say the early 2000s, let's say from 1999 to 2007, I suppose. Let's call it 8 years. I mean, how many legends and recognizable names it churned out? I won't even go. Cena, Randy, yourself, of course, Rico, just a load of people. A great recognition. In the same 8-year lifespan of the Performance Center, there really doesn't seem to be many stars breaking through. Is that a criticism of the Performance Center, or is that WWE's machine to transition people from NXT to the main roster and then book them properly?
I don't know. It's a difficult question to answer. I mean, it could have been recruiting. When they recruited those guys, these guys were stars. They were something special the minute they walked in the room. Now maybe they're looking at athletes that are coachable, and they're not really, I don't know, maybe they don't have a scout out there trying to find that breakthrough star. When I was there, sometimes the learning was a little bit suppressed because the head coach at the time was a little overbearing. And I think a lot of guys were cautious to experiment and just try things. Because then when they got back, like Sami Zayn was wrestling. What's the one from England? A short kid.
Spud, Rockstar Spud.
No, one more. The man that gravity forgot.
Nope, I don't know. Everyone will be killing me for not knowing this.
He's in AEW now. Pac. He's in AEW now.
Yeah,
Pac.
Neville.
I'm sorry, Neville. God forgive me. Neville and Sami Zayn wrestled each other at a live event somewhere in Florida. And they were going out there and they did all kinds of stuff, shit that I couldn't do. And it was beautiful and it was great, but the crowd wasn't reacting to it. The crowd started chanting Byron Saxton because he was doing music. They started chanting at this guy in the front row. They're chanting at the referee. And they were just going on. And I got him back. And I said, well, you guys got to entertain the in-house crowd. And they go, if we go back and we do that on film, it looks like shit and we'll get chastised. So when we go back and watch this match on film, we'll get praise and we'll get a better write-up. And I was just like, for me, in a live event, we're a live performance entertaining the in-house crowd. And you start doing too much TV speed wrestling and they lose it, which is unfortunate.
Is that part of the issue with just general overproduction from the TV show to right down to the grassroots level where you're training people from scratch? Is there maybe too little room for experimentation? Well, you said yourself too much. Not enough
well,
room
that's when I was there. There's been a change in regime, so I don't know. Everybody I talk to says it's a little bit more lighter and carefree.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Enough is enough!
Booty, poo, candy ass.
I had him writhing in pain from my sharpshooter.
Rocky, Rocky.
I am not a nugget!
Stick him straight up your candy ass.
I kicked your leg out of your leg.
The Rock has come.